I would like to acknowledge that this video is being filmed on the traditional lands of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. I pay my respects to their elders past and present, and extend that respect to any Aboriginal, Torres Strait Islander or First Nations people who may be watching this video today. Hi everyone, it's Steph here. This is the Novelty Corner. Welcome or welcome back. Today I have another romance trope recommendation video, and we are going to be talking about age gap romances with older heroes. We will circle back and do older heroines very soon, so that is coming. But because I'm trying to keep these videos to about 5 recommended books, I am splitting them apart just for now. I do have 5 books to talk about with 4 different authors. I was going to split this up into 5 authors, but I just realized I had to include 2 books by the same author because I would be very remiss if I did not. So the first book on my recommendation list is one of my favorite age gap romances. This is actually an romance. It is For Real by Alexis Hall. Everyone has heard me go on and on about this book for ages because I love it. It has stuck with me since I first read it and I cannot get it out of my head. It is the 3rd book in the Spires series, and while it probably helps to read the rest of the Spires series before you do pick this one up, I didn't, and I was totally fine, and I'm still raving about this book a year later. So this is about Lawrence, who is approaching 40. He has been a member of the BDSM and kink scene for a very long time, and he's a submissive, but he's very tired of the scene and he's had enough. And one night when he's being dragged out with his friends, he comes across Toby, who is a 19-year-old inexperienced dominant who is just trying to find his place. He has these urges and he doesn't know what to do with them. And Lawrence ends up taking him under his wing and teaching him what it means to be a dominant. The two end up with this beautiful, complicated age gap romance, and I just love these characters so much. Everything that they go through, from Lawrence purely wanting this to be like a teaching mentor relationship to an actual full-blown relationship where feelings get involved, and it's great. If you haven't read it and you enjoy BDSM in your books, this is definitely one to check out. Another book that is, frankly in the middle of a series, but I can't help but mention it, is Kiss of Snow by Nalini Singh. This is book 10 in the Psy-Changeling series, and this is the slowest of slow burn age gap romances in the entire series because it is hinted at from the very first book when we meet Hawk, who is the leader of the Snow Dancer pack, and Sienna Lauren, who is a young Cardinal Psy who has escaped the Psy-Net with her family and have taken refuge with the Snow Dancer pack. And at this point she's 17, I think, so there is absolutely no relationship when we first meet these 2 characters, but we know that there is a spark because Sienna loves to push Hawk's buttons and he can't help himself but react to it, and it happens all the way through the books where we see them leading up to their book in book 10. This is where everything comes to a head because Sienna is 19 at this point, I think, and she is really annoyed that Hawk is refusing her advances. He is 30-ish, I think, at this point. So she sets out trying to get a reaction from him, and boy does she get it in the best possible way. And I love that. It is fantastic because both Sienna and Hawk are very alpha characters at different points in their life. I love this book a whole lot. It's great. There's also The Doctor by Nikki Sloan, which is Nashville Neighbors book 1. This one has a 20-year-old heroine, Cassidy, who is over at her boyfriend's family's place, and basically her boyfriend is ignoring her. He's got his friends over and he's hanging out and doing bro stuff, and she gets really fed up and upset by the fact that he is ignoring her and ends up talking to his father, who is ridiculously attractive, a doctor, and someone she's always low-key had this crush on. And he acknowledges that his son is not worthy of her. And eventually Cassidy breaks it off with a boyfriend and finds herself spending more and more time with his father, Greg. And it's fantastic. I mean, there's not a huge amount of plot going on around this relationship. It's basically just a lot of steamy times, but it's good. It's really good. Nikki Sloan does amazing steamy books, and this one was really fun. And then I would be very remiss if I didn't mention 2 Katie Robert books. Honestly, this is probably how I really fell headfirst into this trope. So the first one I'm going to mention, because it says it all in the title, is Your Dad Will Do. This is the first book in the Touch of Taboo series, and it's about Lily, whose fiance cheats on her, and in order to get back at him, she decides to seduce his father. It doesn't quite go according to plan, the way that she thought, and then they end up having this whirlwind weekend together that then becomes something more. It is a novella, it is extremely steamy, and there is a lot of sex on page, so be aware of that. And then the second Katee Robert book I want to mention is Desperate Measures, which is the first book in the Wicked Villains series. This is the relationship between Jasmine and Jafar. Jafar had been the advisor to Jasmine's father, who ends up dead very quickly at the start of the book, and finally Jafar is off his leash and able to pursue Jasmine the way that he has always wanted to. This book does feature consensual non-consent from the very start. These are obviously Disney villain retellings. It's set in a very dark contemporary world that is just a bit other. Like, it's not actually other, but it just feels like it. And my gosh, is this one steamy. It is well worth checking out. I love this series to pieces. It is one of my favorites. All right, so those are my age gap older man romance trope recommendations for today. I will probably do a part 2 at some point. I will definitely do the age gap older woman trope before then. So that will probably be out next month. In the comments below, let me know if you have read these books or if you have other recommendations for this trope, because I'm always on the lookout for more good books. If you have any suggestions for other tropes that you would like to see recommended, also leave those down below. Otherwise, I hope that wherever you are in the world, you're staying safe and healthy, and I will see you in my next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye everyone.